Wait, I guess I'm live. Let me check. Well, that one kick doesn't say much. Okay, I think it does. Okay, I think you're good. See if the quality is good enough. It's pretty okay for a 1080p stream. Okay, I think we're close. Let's see how my YouTube's doing. Let's see. I got a new mouse, right? Give me a second. Okay. I'm trying to sort of work with this. Let me set up the okay. I'm setting up the live stream because I don't know how to do it like before I go live. Probably it's gonna take some time. I think I gotta start live on here first and then like put the stuff later. Where did I put? Here it is. Gotta put tags in too. Okay. As you can see, I suck at this. Gotta put like a thumbnail and everything. I hope this works. It's still blanking. Okay. So in the meantime, okay, it's saved. In the meantime, wait a second. Why did it not take my... Okay. I think that was faster. So, before we get into stuff, I put in like hour and a half worth of like just digging. But I gotta get into the disclaimers because I want to just directly get into the whole bow situation. I just want to approach this from an unbiased perspective, trying to take this as pragmatically as possible. I want to just see what's actually being said, try to understand all parties here. I want to talk on the behalf of the people, her followers, about herself. I might be wrong in some of them, but I believe I got the gist of the situation. And if I have reported anything wrong, then I believe you can just tell me in the comments, or if you're right now watching, then in my chat. just let me know what I said or am interpreting as wrong. I've got an entire board here which we'll go through one by one. We're gonna check every single situation that had unfolded over the past couple days. But yeah, it has actually spiraled into a bunch of stuff, but I want to concentrate mainly on the Bow's the tweet that she put up, and yeah, I'm gonna get into that first. So before we get into our situation, as I said, I want to reiterate this. I want to be as pragmatic as possible, as unbiased as possible, and look at this from all perspectives to understand what was actually being said. I might not be able to do that perfectly, but I'm pretty sure I can do it a little bit of justice. So, and as I said, you can just correct me whenever I'm wrong. So let's see this. Okay, so this is the Miro board that I created. It's kind of like a step-by-step situation. Oh no, I guess those are the dogs, but so there are a couple of things that I want to talk about first, and that is that initially, as I said here, initially the tweet was correct and was as a standalone, right? So what was the initial tweet? The first tweet that had blew up was this one right here. Let me just switch to that. Yeah. So this tweet right here, this Bow's tweet, which says, if you're an up and coming female content creator with a small but growing audience and a much larger and successful male content creator approaches you out of nowhere and showers you with attention on stream, in DMs, etc., don't walk, run. So when I first scrolled through this, I did not much care for it. I thought this was a pretty okay take, if you are a smaller content creator and someone all of a sudden comes into comes to your DMs, or like slides into your DMs and just starts showering you with love, just run. And that's what I took away from this. But what people were actually talking about after the fact that this was posted is that she told male content creator approaches you, then run, right? But she had what people were pointing out was that she did not take into account what about like if a female content creator who's big approaches a smaller male content creator. That is going to be the other situation. Like it goes hand in hand, because you could have just removed this and you could have said large and successful content creator approaches you out of nowhere and showers you with attention on stream. So this entire issue was because of one word. And if this word did not get posted, people would have not batted an eye. Everyone would have agreed with that. And that's about that. But even though standalone, if you look at this entire tweet standalone, you would still say, well, it's no big deal, even if she said it that way, even if she said male content creator approaches you, that is totally fine, because she is taking an example because of I think it might be, I'm not really 100% sure, but it might be the Emiru and Misko situation that is what prompted her to post this. And in that context, I'd say, well, that's true. No, if she wants to talk about male content creators approaching female content creators from her perspective, this is absolutely valid. There is literally no problem in this tweet. But what happened next, right? As I said, the initial tweet was correct as a standalone. I have no problems with the first tweet if it was standalone. Now, people wanted confirmation of the statement if the genders were reversed. So right here, she reiterated as a male content creator who is larger who approaches a smaller female content creator. I personally think people will naturally talk about the other side because this is Twitter. People will naturally kind of point out if you singled out a gender, people are going to talk about a gender. You've right here, you as in Bao right here mentioned male content creator. Because you mentioned a gender, people are going to also talk about the opposite gender. It's just a conversation. That's normal. That's obvious that people are going to point that out. Because if there is anything, let's say, if there is another problem which has to do with gender, people are going to reverse those roles and discuss if it is applicable, if it is fair, if it is unfair. Will this be even a talking point if the genders were reversed? It's a normal conversation and people are going to point that out. And what happened was here, I think the third point, it's kind of out there, but all she had to do was add a sentence or reply, or even just remove this one word and everything would be hunky-dory, you know? Nobody would bat an eye, nobody would care about what's going on and what's gonna kind of push this. Nobody would care if this word was not there. That's what I'm trying to say. But yeah. Yo, Forcing, hello, bro. It's been long. It's been long since I streamed. I miss you, dog. Thanks for dropping in, bro. But yeah, I don't know if you know about the situation, but it was pretty big on Twitter. I made a whole flowchart on this shit. It didn't take me much time, just 40 minutes or to an hour. But yeah. But yeah, how you doing, man? Thank you for dropping by after so long. But yeah, as I said, like, if the opposite small male VTuber versus large female VTuber, if this sentence was added, or if this sentence was added, or if she just removed that one word, everything would be fine. You know, nobody would care. But then what had happened was that her replies and likes raised an eyebrow because people right now were assuming, well, it's not right to assume that she's actually a misandrist, right? It's not right to assume that she hates men. She's actually just pointing out a situation and she's just talking about it. But what had happened was that people had caught her liking one particular tweet or just liking a particular tweet which was about We Choose the Bear situation, right? If you guys don't know what We Choose the Bear is, We Choose the Bear is basically kind of like a basically answer to the question, like, if women would like to spend the night in a forest with a bear or with a man, they choose the bear because they think that bears are much more safer than men, which I don't believe that's true, but to each their own. I really don't care as much. But this is basically an indication to people who are hardcore male hating people, because if you are sane, you would want to be in a forest or be in a bad situation with a human. Okay, it doesn't matter male or female, but I'd choose males any day or females any day over a bear, because another male or another female, or even for a female, a male is going to be much more safer option. But this is basically just it just goes hand in hand with people who hate men, right? And I'm looking at this like, well, if she likes likes like this kind of a tweet, I'm gonna say, well, it just ticks a couple boxes. Like the first box, like first we are not 100% sure. We're like what, 10% sure that she probably hates men, right? Just think of it that way. But then after this like of a tweet, and thanks to this person, now people are around like 40% thinking that she probably hates men. You know, she's like, well, why did you post that? If you want to talk about like large content creator who's a male who's gonna take advantage of a smaller female content creator, why not reverse the genders as well, or just not talk about genders at all? But she purposefully put male in, and now she's just defending it. So what had actually happened was after this hit the basically, if not if there was a sort of a response that can be given, I'd say it would be a neutral response, because any response that is there to this tweet alone, you'd have a neutral response. You'd not give that much of a situation. This would not be that much of a situation. But in the meantime, what had happened was Shando, another VTuber, she called out a person who was basically just agreeing with the people that were saying, well, it should be gender neutral. It should also include bigger female content creators taking advantage of smaller male content creators. Like even Shando was like giving a really bad reply to a person by calling them this, you know? Like if you disagree with a person, you don't just call them this, because this is a serious allegation. This is not a word that is thrown around. Like the situation right now is not jovial. It's not funny. It's basically just, it's basically just a serious situation where people are seriously talking about what is going on. And she drops this and people got angry. They said, well, just because you have a differing opinion does not mean you're going to get to call them something which is a serious allegation. And that's when the replies kind of blew up even more, and it pushed her in the sense Bao's original tweet even like further because of this entire situation. And the answer to that was basically she did not care. And when people who were actually, and this is her not caring, and people who were actually, who had a following and were, I guess, a bit closer or had a bit more influence, kind of criticized her for saying all of this. She put out a very lengthy apology, which was basically not an apology. I could just talk about this, but it's basically, this is correct, basically, right? And this kind of summarization is correct. You can just look at it. The first paragraph was like her saying that it's just an edgy joke. And then the second paragraph is kind of like an apology, like, hey, I'm wrong. And then she said, well, I probably was right. But let's see, I'm gonna just read this part, because here's where everything shifts. If there are robberies in your area, it's not a bad idea to lock your door, even if someone starts yelling about how you're oppressing them by telling people to do that. They might have a reason to feel so personally slighted. So basically, she's just trying to defend her original comment of that person being this. And then the fourth paragraph here is like, I'm actually the victim here. Basically, her saying, I don't take kindly to this misinterpretation. I don't know what there is to misinterpret. You had a pretty straightforward 3-sentence tweet or a reply calling someone something that bad. And then, well, she just makes fun again, right? And then at last, there's another tweet of hers which says that he deserved it. He deserved it though, like being kind to people who do not deserve it. So I'm just looking at this like a VTuber that a lot of male people follow, and basically allows them, like, her followers are majority male. They pay for her bills. They pay for her current lifestyle. They propped her up. And the males that actually want to make a case for themselves, saying that, hey, even males get like a lot of such problems and they should be included as well. When someone says that, here is Shondo, who's a VTuber again. Her audience is male, and she throws them under the bus. She does not care. She basically is disrespecting the same gender that props her entire life up. And this is where I kind of personally feel like, hey, do these people actually respect their audiences? Do we even know? Does she even care about maintaining a good relationship with her audience? Does she even care about men? Now, all of that is under a bus. And what had happened next was that she later was in a mental hospital. I guess a mental hospital. I think she was having an episode. She has a history of some mental problems, and now I think she's back in the mental hospital. So people stopped talking about this situation. I don't know if this was a direct correlation or not. I don't know that. But I will say that people were nice enough to give her time because she's having an episode. She needs to heal right now. She needs to recover. So people stopped pushing this further because before any drama, before any man hating, before any sort of an issue, I don't think she's man hating. I'm just saying that for a placeholder. Because that's how it comes off as. But yeah, before all of that drama, I think her well-being takes precedent, you know? She has an entire family depending on her. She has to take care of her siblings. So I'd say she needs to recover first and come back to her family and live with her family well before all of this internet drama. So before that, again, this is one of the replies to people who are criticizing Shondo for her sort of this statement. And people who were in support of Shondo were basically saying something more hideous and more disgusting. But people were quick to point out the hypocrisy and the dumbness of this reply, to be honest. And I'd say for now, this has been put on hold because, you know, she's right now not available and is not even, you know, mentally sound enough to take on the situation or talk about this. But now, if you come back to this, after the backlash, people were talking about how she's basically refusing to even talk about or even clarify her own situation. It is really sad that she thinks that she doesn't need to. She thinks that she's right in her own aspect. If you come down to my notes, I made a huge amount of notes on this. So this I've already talked about. I've shown the checkboard of Shondo. But now we're coming back to Bao, right? Bao streams, again, if you see, recently streamed, I think there were two things. Before, there was a previous stream, and there's a new stream over here. I think, no, not this one. But yeah, this is the newest stream. There was a previous stream where she was talking about trying to clarify her situation and her basically just her tweet. She's just clarifying her tweet, but she never once clarified the main question that many people were trying to put forward to her, and she did not clarify anything about that. She was just saying, well, this tweet is not about you. If you don't do this, if you do not, basically, where is this? Yeah, this is the stream that she was talking about. She is talking about, like, if you fit successful, if you fit content creator, if you fit male, all three, only then this tweet is about you. If not, this tweet is not about you. That's the basic gist of the video or the clip right here. But she never once clarified the question that people are talking about. Is this one word people are talking about? You could have removed that word, or you could have clarified that even male content creators have a problem with bigger female creators bullying them, abusing them, and basically trapping them. If you think that this was not the case, or if you wanted an example, we can come to this video right here, which is by Twitch Scrubbing, where he is I think, an aspiring VTuber who was approached by a VTuber, another VTuber, a female VTuber, or maybe he was actually just a viewer and he slid into her DMs. But basically, what had happened was that a bigger female VTuber also did put down and abuse, I'd say mentally. If you look through this entire video, he was basically mentally, stressed because of all the situation. She disrespected, she kind of manipulated him, and she hurt him, and she cheated on him, and there was a bunch of stuff going on. So a bigger female VTuber did in fact, influence a smaller male VTuber, and basically just cheated on them and basically just took advantage. She basically took advantage of him. And if you just, I'm gonna link this video into the chat if I can. My chat reader is not open yet. But yeah, I'm gonna link it in the description later. But what I'm trying to say here is that the opposite has been and is also proved to be true. There are plenty of people who are up and coming male VTubers who have been taken advantage of. Not only VTubers, just up and coming content creators who have been abused or have been put down by bigger female VTubers. And that's the end of it, right? There are plenty of people out there who just think that male content creators are the only ones who take advantage, but there are many examples, and there are many people out there who also have experienced abuse worse than from a bigger female VTuber. And he as in Scrubbing, I think I have, I don't know where, like I'll put here he is here. Scrubbings, that is his tag on Twitter or X. I think he also has a bigger YouTube channel than this. But what is actually happening is that he posted or quote tweeted this post, and he got a lot of hate from that. And there were plenty of women who were actual man haters who used her tweet, who used Bow's tweet. I think I wrote this here as well. Like, people were actually, when people are using her tweet to spread hate against men, there are people who are quote tweeting her tweet and kind of using that as a kind of like a vehicle to attack men even more than they're already being attacked. If you can just check what male VTuber space is like, it's really tough, because majority of the people that watch VTubers would like to watch female VTubers, because of course, you would like to watch a cute model. Even females would like to watch a cute model. There are some people who would like to continue watching a male model, but those people are rare. People don't want to support as many male VTubers than female VTubers. So female VTubers have it a bit easier, I'd say. Female VTubers, all they need to be is themselves, and I'm pretty sure there are plenty of female VTubers whose entire careers have been made solely because of their personality. And I'm not hating that, because there are plenty of male VTubers who do have great personalities as well, but they don't get as much of a boost. And my personal statement about this has always been that it feels like she's dodging and basically pulling up pirate here. Basically, the title or the basic text on the thumbnail of this video is talking about her pulling a pirate. And now what do I mean by that? Like, what do I mean by her pulling a pirate? It's basically her being egotistical and not just putting out a sentence saying that, hey, even male content creators can face the same problem from bigger female content creators. Like, she does not want to put that out at all. She has been asked the same question again and again and again from many people in her replies, and she never once tried to say that or even wanted to say that. Instead, she just defends her position, and that is not the point. People know that her statement is not wrong per se, but it should also include male content creators. It should also include male victims. But she does not want to put male victims forward, and she does not want to support that statement. At least that's what it feels like. So basically, in this entire situation, she does not want to say it's true even if the genders were reversed. She does not want to say the statement. So from all of the situation, what am I trying to do? The main process of mine was to just look at the first tweet and then look at her replies, look at her likes that were exposed, then look at her conduct on her streams. And I'm sorry to say, but it looks dire, because she does not want to utter those words that male content creators can get victimized to. She does not want to say that, at least in my personal opinion, because she had time and time and again, she had the opportunity to say that, but she never said that. She had the opportunity to say it when people were talking about it in her replies. She had the opportunity to say it in her stream. She had the opportunity to say it on the latest stream, but instead, she just said that she's engagement farming. So my personal thoughts on this basically is that doesn't she owe men that support her even that courtesy? The men that support her and that the men that actually push her career forward, do they not get that common courtesy from a creator that they support, right? If men are your predominant supporters, do you not owe them a statement? The people that support her, doesn't she owe her entire career? Like, her entire career is because of her followers. Without her followers, she's a nobody. She's a nobody. And who are the majority of her followers? Men. And she does not even give back to the community that is making her career. She does not want to just put out a couple sentences for the people that support her. Like, how hard is it? How hard is it to just say the above blue statement? It's true even if genders were reversed. How hard is it to say that one sentence? It's not that hard. Again, unless she doesn't agree with that statement. It is hard. It is hard if she doesn't agree with that statement. Again, this is my assumption. This is my assumption right here. Again, it's not about man hating. It's about knowing her major following is men and not doing right by them. When you're in, like, I'd say around 70 to 80% of her audience, her supporters are men, and you wouldn't want to do right by 70 to 80% of your followers? You don't want to include them? There are many male content creators or budding content creators who want to be VTubers. Do you not want to support them? Do you not want to put this statement out for new content creators who are men, who might be in your following, who are actually pushing your content, who are actually supporting you? Do you not want to do this for them? So with all of these kind of checkboxes of her not like uttering this sentence, not even putting out something remotely close to this sentence again and again and again, the only assumption that is left, at least for me in my opinion, with her way of handling things, is that she doesn't care to respectfully mention men when people are using her tweet to spread hate against men. In this video, he goes around saying how there were people who were actually abusing him for calling Bao out. You can kind of see here are some things that he shows, like, how about women collectively tell you to go and eat shit? Like, that is one of the tweets. I think there are some other tweets here. This one right here. Bro, you're being a little bitch. If some random drama, you are just an outsider to who happened to throw their 2 cents in like everyone else, then you probably never wanted it in first place. Like, all of this is basically abuse, because he himself has suffered abuse from a female VTuber. And he's giving his actual, not 2 cents by the way, probably $1,000, because he is the most relevant party to talk about this, because this has happened to him. He wants to be a VTuber, and a VTuber does wrong by him, so he's allowed to talk about this, and his input actually matters. And it's really wrong of her to just assume what he's talking about. And what he actually said was not even that bad, right? It was not even something that is remotely sort of confrontational. If you look at the first few lines, I'm not joking, the entire situation is Bao and all the drama I've seen in the VTubing sphere. In fact, blah, blah, blah. As first impression of VTubing world, I'm not impressed. People need to hold. I think you can kind of see his other tweet, which was after the latest stream of Bao's, where she was just saying, I'm sorry, engagement farming is just, like, I'm just engagement farming, she just said. And this is my personal input, like, I'm sorry, like, engagement farming, such a serious topic. Like, do you want to make light of a situation which is actually concerning abuse? That is what I'm trying to say there. And yeah, I still stand by it. So this was, I think, a couple hours ago. It's 4 to 5 hours ago. And it's a huge paragraph, but he was basically holding out hope that maybe Bao she probably will agree with the opposite being true, but she just isn't putting that out there because I think she's being egotistical or something. But this latest stream where she actually was talking about engagement farming just proves his point and proves his assumption, which she does not want it to be true, but unfortunately is that she does not care. She does not care about men being abused. She does not care. At least that is what I believe she's insinuating, at least with all of her actions, because she refuses to say the opposite is true. She refuses to say that. And this is what actually pushes people into making assumptions and having a conversation about this. And when people have a conversation about that, and when they want to have a conversation about that, what is a response? Well, it's engagement farming. That's what I'm doing. And this tweet is not about you. If you fit these 3 boxes, only then this tweet is about you. I'm sorry. I'm really sorry. If you talk about something with gender, people are also going to talk about the opposite. The opposite gender is also going to be talked about. And when people are questioning you, especially your followers, you need to understand that you owe them an explanation because they are your followers. They're your employers, basically. Again, like he goes on to say, like, he was defending men against women who were using your words to harass men, and I had to face a large amount of scrutiny until people saw the harassment for themselves. I was called a grifter, liar, and a monster, a freak, and worse. Because I told my story about how I was abused and silenced by multiple larger female VTubers, men came to me hurt, explaining all the horrible stories that they had to deal with. I was begging for you to care, to have a heart. This is something that I went to public. This is something I went public with during the past week. This happened this week, and my life was ruined. I quit Twitch for 9 months and still have not fully healed from the pain, mistreatment, and trust issues that I developed. Women saved me, but not every man has women to save them, right? So he's basically talking about the opposite being true and how there are actual cases and examples of the opposite being true. And people are talking about the opposite, and she just refuses to acknowledge that. And I've seen plenty of people who are actually just using her tweet and using her position as a segue into man-hating. And that's that, and she's not doing anything about it, right? When someone is misusing your tweet, you come out and say, well, that's not what I meant, and I don't want my tweet to be used that way. But instead, you refuse to do that, and you refuse to say the opposite is true. So, unfortunately, I have to agree with this last tweet right here. I don't think she really cares at this point. I think it's safe to say that she's completely detached from real people, and lives in her own brand of reality. You have a huge following. You're a big VTuber, and all you have to do is basically give respect to the people that support you. And you can't bring yourself to do even that. You can't bring yourself to even talk about the opposite because you want to fit into some box. That's what it looks like. That's what your actions point toward. Instead of making a case for both sides, that's what people wanted, right? Instead of making a case for both sides and give what people wanted, you refuse to do that, and you continue to say that you're correct. Like, I know that you're correct, but what about the opposite? People are gonna question you about that. And the people that prop you up, the people that put money in your pocket, you don't think that they deserve even a statement, a reply to the questions they're putting towards you? Like, these are your followers. They want to have this question answered. And you refuse to do that, and you say, well, this is not about you. You do everything but dodge the statement. They're just asking you for one statement, and that is that, do you think the opposite, if the gender was reversed, do you think that is true as well? That's all they want an answer. That's all they want an answer to. They want to ask you if it's yes or no. But you refuse to do that, and you want to tiptoe across it. You want to walk around it. You don't want to confirm anything. And the only thing that you want to do is continue with defending your situation, defending your tweet, and defending your take, instead of answering the question posed by your own followers. And what do you get in return? This like right here. This is what you get. And that's why I believe that she's holding up PirateSoftware. You're so egotistical that you don't want to answer a question that many people are posing towards you. And most of them are probably your followers. Okay, you know what? Just forget about the questions and replies. In this entire situation, right? In this entire situation, is it not Is it that hard for you to just remove this? Is it that hard to just talk about the male perspective as well, the perspective of male victims? Do you not want to talk about them even though males are the ones that are pushing your bank account? They're bumping your bank account up. They're giving you the luxury of being a VTuber. They are basically putting money into your pocket. They're making sure that you can afford your lifestyle. And this is the thanks that the males get. Forget about all the comments, forget about the questions, forget about all the replies, forget about it. Do you not have an obligation to talk about the male perspective, even though when 70 to 80% of your followers are male? That's the question. And if that question is yes, then answer the question. And if the answer to that question is no, then I believe the followers that you possess should probably think about who they want to, support and not support. Because if you can't even bring yourself to talk about the males that actually support you, then I believe you don't deserve the males that you don't want to talk about. So I think that's the end of this entire discussion. I don't want to talk much about it. I'm really sorry if I'm not able to speak properly or eloquently. I don't know why my eloquency goes down when I'm streaming, and when I'm actually rehearsing it in my mind or when I'm rehearsing it offline, I'm not able to I'm really eloquent when I'm talking about this situation offline. But because this is one of my first streams about this, I'm really sorry about that. If I took a really a long route to put my point forward, I'm really sorry about that if I dragged stuff on, but yeah, that's the entire situation. And even with this one, I believe you can find a huge shout out to Scrubbings, a huge shout out to Kazahana. He even put out a bunch of screenshots, which, pushed me to actually find those screenshots. Thank you, Kazahana, for collecting these screenshots, because I really use some of the screenshots personally in my video or in my stream here right now. Thank you for that. And your take also helped me kind of solidify my assumptions and solidify my take as well. So thank you, Kazahana. I'm gonna be putting the links to these videos in the description after the stream is over. I'm gonna make sure to go subscribe to his channel. I think I've already subscribed to Scrubbings' channel. Just show Scrubbings some love. He recently just went through a lot of abuse from the said female VTuber. She cheated on him. She did a lot of scummy things to him, and he's still healing. So just show some love to him. Show some support. Bump his stuff. Send him some love. Okay. He deserves it. And yeah, there are some tweets which he talked about. Is the original one, and she even posted a reply. This reply very well could have been that one sentence and all of this would have blown over, but she refused to do so. Hence this entire thing. And also this was a bad example. Out of all the unbiased and genuinely curious questions that were being posed to her and generally unbiased statements that were being posed to her, she chose one of the worst, and she chose to highlight that. That too was also one of the factors that led me to believe that she's deliberately dodging this chance for her to clarify the male perspective, but she does not want to. That's just how I feel from looking at her actions. That's how I genuinely feel. Even with me being unbiased, I'm trying to be as unbiased as possible. to me, I'm trying to be as unbiased as possible, but her actions just feel that way. And it's just sad to see that. So yeah, thank you guys for watching. I really appreciate you guys. I'll probably be streaming a bit more. For now, I'm using the stream as a sort of a what do you say? I'm just trying to stream more, trying to kind of fight my personal problems with streaming. As you can see, I'm not that eloquent. I rant a lot, but I try to be as on point as possible. This is kind of like my sort of practice run, as you can say, a test stream. I'm trying to be as eloquent as possible, as upfront as possible. And I will be talking more about stuff. It's not like my content is not strictly VTuber stuff, but this, I believe, does touch upon a really sad topic that male creators and males in general don't receive the same sort of quality of support that the females get. And that's just a sad reality. Right now, there are some males that are more upfront about their support. They're actually supporting other males, and that is being improved little by little. But at this point, it's still a work in progress. Support for males online is really tough to come by. So again, thank you for watching. I'm sorry that if I ranted, and I'm sorry if you don't like my voice or if you don't like how I approach this situation. Just let me know in the comments. We can just have a conversation there. So thank you for watching, and I will see you guys next time. I will be making more content and actually be streaming for more than an hour. I'd like to stream for 3 hours, but right now I'm just trying to cultivate the habit. So it's just my first test stream. Anyways, thank you for watching. If you disagree with something, just put it down in the comments, and I will see you guys next time.